All right, welcome to the Explainer. Now, for a second, I want you to forget about outer space, because today we're going somewhere way more mysterious and honestly less explored. And it's right here on our own planet. We're talking about the Mariana Trench.
So, to really get a handle on the Mariana Trench, you kind of have to, you have to completely recalibrate your sense of what deep even means. We're not just talking deep, we're talking about a world of extremes that's almost impossible to compare to anything else. So, let's start our descent, shall we? Okay, so where is this thing? Well, if you could drain the ocean, you'd see this huge, crescent-shaped scar carved into the bottom of the Western Pacific. But honestly, its shape and location aren't the main event. What really gets you, what just blows your mind, is its depth. It's staggering, almost unbelievable. And right down in that trench, there's this one spot, a little valley they call the Challenger Deep. That's the lowest point. And it plunges, get this, 10,984 meters. That's almost 11 kilometers straight down. We're talking nearly 7 miles below the waves. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second.
And if that number still feels a little abstract, check this out. This really puts it into perspective. You could take Mount Everest, right? The tallest mountain on the entire planet. And if you could just drop it into the Challenger Deep, its peak, its very tip, would still be more than 2 kilometers underwater. That scale is it's absolutely insane.
So the big question is, how in the world does something this massive even get made? Well, the answer is pretty incredible. It all comes down to these immense, powerful geological forces that are, constantly shifting and reshaping our planet.
It's all because of a process called subduction. Basically, this is what happens at a boundary where two of the Earth's huge tectonic plates smash into each other. In this case, we're talking about the massive Pacific Plate running into the smaller Mariana Plate.
You can think of it like this super slow-motion collision between giants. The Pacific Plate is heavier, it's denser, so it gets forced to slide under the lighter Mariana Plate. And as it bends and dives down into the Earth's mantle, it literally carves out this gigantic V-shaped canyon on the ocean floor. And boom, that's how you get the deepest abyss in any of our oceans.
All right, now let's actually go into the trench. What is it like down there? Well, it's a place of almost unimaginable hostility. It's a world where the normal rules of physics and biology get pushed right to their absolute breaking point.
The first thing you have to understand is the pressure. It is just off the charts. We're talking over 1,000 times greater than what we feel right now at sea level. I want you to try and imagine the weight of a column of water 7 miles high pushing down on every single square inch of you. It's a force so immense it would flatten a military submarine like you'd crush an empty soda can. Just poof.
And it's not just the pressure. You combine that immense, crushing force with total, perpetual darkness. Zero sunlight ever reaches here, and temperatures that are basically just above freezing. You put all that together, and what you have is one of the most extreme and what should be one of the most lifeless places on Earth.
So, that leads us to the big, obvious question, right? In a place this crushing, this cold, this dark, could anything possibly survive? And for a really long time, scientists honestly didn't think so. But it turns out, against all odds, the answer is a huge, resounding yes. Life doesn't just exist down there. It actually flourishes. We found these wild, giant, single-celled organisms, little crustaceans that are basically built like tanks to handle the pressure, and whole ecosystems of microbes. And here's the really mind-blowing part. It's not just that they survive, it's how. They've evolved completely different ways of living, different biochemistries. This discovery made us have to completely tear up the old rulebook on where life can exist.
Okay, so actually getting to the bottom, that's been one of the biggest challenges we've ever faced as explorers. It's a serious test of engineering and, let's be honest, pure courage. So let's take a quick look at the history of how we've tried to conquer this final frontier.
It all started way back in 1875 with, basically just weighted ropes to measure the depth. Super basic. Then, bam, huge leap forward in 1960. Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh climb into this crazy contraption and become the first humans to ever see the bottom with their own eyes. Fast forward over 50 years, and filmmaker James Cameron does the first ever solo dive. And now, today, it's all about advanced robots. These are ROVs that act as our eyes and hands down there, just continuing to peel back the layers of this incredible mystery.
But all this exploration, it's turned up more than just weird fish and cool rocks. As our technology got better and we could see things more clearly, we started finding something else, something really unexpected. something that connects this place, this impossibly remote world, directly to us.
Because even here, in literally the most isolated, most inaccessible place on the entire planet, a place that fewer people have visited than the surface of the moon, we're already there. We found unmistakable evidence of us.
And it's not just a hunch. A study in 2019 confirmed it. And the results were, well, they were pretty sobering. They took samples from the sediment at the very bottom, and what did they find? Microplastics and industrial pollutants, these nasty chemicals called PCBs. These are things that were banned decades ago, and somehow they've made their way all the way down here. It's just a stark, unavoidable reminder that our footprint, it's not just on the surface anymore. It has reached the absolute deepest corners of our planet.
So, as we make our way back up to the surface, what's the big lesson here? What's the final takeaway from this whole journey into the deep? What is the trench really trying to tell us?
You know, the trench is really about a profound duality. It's two things at once. On one hand, it's this incredible symbol of the Earth's raw geological power and the unbelievable resilience of life. But on the other hand, it's become a mirror that reflects our own far-reaching impact. It's showing us that nowhere, no ecosystem, no matter how remote you think it is truly safe from our influence.
And that leaves us with one last, really critical thought. These last frontiers on our planet, they've become a reflection of who we are. They reflect our best qualities, right? Our curiosity, our ingenuity. But they also reflect our biggest flaw, our carelessness. So the question we have to ask ourselves is this. As we keep exploring these amazing places, what kind of story are we choosing to show them? What will we leave behind?